I don't like covering this stuff after I'm coming back from a break because I feel like I'm the last person at the party. You know what I mean? I'm running into the burning building to alert everyone who's already left that there's a fire. You know? You all get it. I guess this only happened yesterday. So it's kind of difficult to overstate how pathetic this is. I am not and never have been a patriot, but it is sickening even to me, somebody who doesn't really place much innate value on the country or what it means to be the president or what the White House means as an institution, to see it being used in this way. So you probably saw this. Donald Trump, at the request of Elon Musk, lined up Tesla vehicles in front of the White House so that Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America, could do an ad read for them.
I'll watch Secret Service go crazy. Thank you.
I mean, if you actually drove it around, it would really be wild.
Wow.
There was no subtlety or artifice to it. There wasn't any other excuse for it. There wasn't any reason to do it. It wasn't even being done in the guise of like, here we are promoting electric vehicles or whatever else. It was literally just an advertisement. Here's an image of Donald Trump holding a ad read for the pricing of the Tesla vehicles so that he could just read it. It's not even like a corruption thing on its own, because the system has always been corrupt. It is that, okay, I don't know. It kind of defies explanation. I don't really know what to say. It's embarrassing. It's so transparent. You can't satirize it, I'll tell you that much. The idea of the president of the United States holding up like an ad read for cars and just, what can I do to put you in this Tesla today or whatever? It's the kind of thing that you would call over the top and obvious and kind of trite if it had been done a few years ago. And now it's just what's happening. Now it's just life. That's just what the country looks like now. Remember how I've said over and over again that one of the things that gives me hope is that this oligarchy is so incompetent that it can't sustain itself? This is the kind of thing that I mean. Like, this is the sort of thing that any competent yes man would have detected, and he would have gone like, you shouldn't do this. Like, this is too much. This is too over the top, basically. Like, any dictator with advisors who were worth their salt would be like, come on, let's back down a little bit. Let's step it back a bit. This is a little bit too much. This is only going to make people hate us. But they didn't do that. I'm aware of the RFK thing. We'll talk about the RFK Jr. thing as well. Yes, anti-Tesla protests are ramping up over the country, which makes sense because it's a car company that is run by Hitler. It is, in my opinion, no exaggeration to say that at this point, ownership of a Tesla is and it should be interpreted as a signal of support for Elon. I don't care if that's not fair. Life isn't fair. None of this is fair. Certainly a Cybertruck. Cybertrucks have been getting vandalized all over the place. I would never condone unlawful behavior such as that. So obviously I denounce that. I will say it's funny, which I'm still, I think, legally allowed to say, though I could be wrong about that. The anti-Tesla protests have been ramping up enormously. And Tesla investor survey shows 85% believe Elon Musk's politics are having negative or extremely negative impact in the company. This is what I mean with the competency thing, right? It's just not working. Tesla stock has lost 50% of its value since December. Do you have any idea how incompetent you would have to be to fumble the amount of power Elon Musk has? And you can see such a clear line, too, when you take a look at when things started to turn down, you know? And in my opinion, the real downturn, which obviously began after Donald Trump assumed the presidency, was because all the people who were eagerly buying into Tesla, because they're like, oh, Elon Musk is like the shadow president, so he's going to like use his power and influence to boost Tesla. And then since the actual inauguration, people have largely realized that he's actually really stupid. Like, oh, they are doing the tariffs. It wasn't a bit. Like he has the power, but that doesn't mean he can use it properly. I mean, the face he made when he was asked about his tumbling net worth was funny. So, well, then show it. Show me the link. Don't just say that. Look, I've been out of the loop, man. Okay, I'm catching back up. You're with me here, you know? I mean, this bit overall is pretty good, right?
That's beautiful.
And you know what? I'm going to be cringe for a second. Pardon me if I sound like a liberal. I hope you don't hate me for it, but I think that it's okay to be genuinely outraged at the denigration of the symbols of America in this way. Nobody hates America more than Trump and Elon. Literally. No one on earth. The most flag-burning, America-hating, I would rather China nuke us lefty loves America more than these people do. It is impossible to denigrate these symbols more than what we're looking at now. You know? To literally have the president do a car ad read. Like it's a Tesla showroom.
This is a different panel than I've had. Everything's computer.
That's a good bit, though. That's a good line.
That's beautiful. Wow.
Keep in mind that Trump can't drive. He hasn't been able to drive for a long time. He's really, really old. So he doesn't... When I invite her over.
Wow. That's beautiful. This is a different panel than I've had. Everything's computer.
It's so good.
That's beautiful. Wow.
Vilification of the White House still lends it power. This cheapens it. I guess, like, my problem with this, apart from just, like, moral outrage, is the fact that nothing can get better unless people believe in these systems. Not, mind you, in the President of the United States specifically, or the White House specifically, or whatever else, but in the system, like, of government in the abstract, right? People need to believe in the idea that the government can be used to improve people's lives. Because if they don't believe that, then they succumb. They get complacent. They throw their arms up in the air. They're like, okay, well, life is just like that. That's how people were with the monarchy for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. The most peasantry, you know, this is like a very Machiavellian tendency, right? The idea of like, okay, yeah, maybe like the average ruler is a incestuous dipshit, you know, who makes the lives of the peasantry worse. But as long as they keep things stable, they can be as brutal as they want. Like their job is to maintain the system. But people don't ask questions. No one's running around asking, like, you know, how do we make people's lives better, you know? And I think to an extent, this is one of the reasons why democracy didn't work in Russia or in Belarus, you know? Without a strong belief in the ability for these systems to be used in a democratic way that improves people's lives, people kind of fall in with strongmen. They're like, okay, well, you know, you're not going to, maybe you can't get improvement of life, but you can get, I guess, strength. You can get protection. Doing this to the White House, doing this to the president, it's not just denigrating to Trump and Elon, though it is very much that. It's also not just denigrating to America or the American people, though it is very much that. It's denigrating to the idea of a functioning government. Does that make sense? It's not just about destroying this administration. It's about destroying the concept of a functioning administration. It's sickening. That time I clicked.
Yeah, it's just a brake and an accelerator. You give Secret Service a heart attack.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Can you start it?
Should I?
Yeah. Oh, it's... So, do you want to actually drive it?
You don't want me to drive it, do you?
So basically you mean cultural customs? I believe right here, and maybe this is naive of me, I believe that the right person with the right power could make Earth a paradise for everyone. I do believe it. I don't think it'd be easy, and I don't think it could be done immediately. But I do, well, I mean, not the right person, but the right people. I do think that the right systems, the right people in power, whatever. I think that it's possible. I think that a lot of bad people convince themselves that it's okay to accept less because more isn't possible. It's one of the like fundamental tenets of conservative thought. It's like Hobbesianism, right? The idea that humans are nasty and brutal and mean, and they don't deserve very much and they can't do very much for themselves. The government exists to keep them in line. And people who want more from the government are kind of being like overly aspirational. They're being naive. A lot of conservatives don't just think, oh, things should be bad because it's good when things are bad, like cartoon villains or whatever. A lot of conservatives think that attempts to make things better through the government or through systems in general are naive, they don't work, and you do more harm than good in trying. Now, they're wrong, and it's a stupid way of thinking, but the more shit like this happens, the more the world kind of proves them right. You know what I mean? It is difficult to look at this and go like, yeah, I think these institutions can be used for good. I think it's possible when, like, at every level of society, nothing works here. Go to any city in America and the mayor is a dipshit who exists entirely to siphon money into the police department and raise property values for the people who are wealthy enough to already own property. Right? Go to any state level politics and it's Republican. It's either like Democrats trying to pass bills to make it legal to put homeless people in a wood chipper, or Republicans trying to put bills to make it legal to like do genital inspections on 6-year-old girls before they're allowed to play, like, you know, volleyball or whatever. Go up to the federal level and the entire thing is a project to funnel money into the military industrial complex and like venerate Israel. Like at every single level, it's a shit show. Evil people making the world worse. And somehow things keep floating along in spite of it, you know? The continued existence of this society is entirely in spite of the people and institutions that are trying to tear it apart. Just barely. This doesn't help.
I saw Biden do a.
I'll tell you, it could be.
once in the Jeep.
Yeah,
Very easy to drive.
That's you're the only one that saw it.
So it's like driving a golf cart, basically.
Very simple.
It's very simple. So it's literally like a golf cart that goes really fast. There's no gears.
This is really.
I don't need to watch the entire car ad, man. The whole thing went on, by the way, for 30 minutes.
It's very unfair. So I just want to. There's no better for what we're doing.
Let's just watch the opening. Here's the president of the United States trying to convince the American public that what he's doing is warranted.
A very small group of people. And I'm going to buy because, number one, it's a great product, as good as it gets. And number two, because this man has devoted his energy and his life to doing this. And I think he's been treated very unfairly by a very small group of people. And I just want people to know that you can't be penalized for being a patriot. And he's a great patriot. And he's also done an incredible job with Tesla. And I mean, nobody else has a car company started up in the last 30 years that's been successful. I don't think so. And not only successful, but super successful. And because he's able to find billions and billions and billions of dollars of fraud and waste and all of the things. I mean, our country's going to be very strong very soon because of a lot of the things that he's done and a lot of the things that I'm doing. And there's no better team, but there's no better for what we're doing. There's nobody like this, and he shouldn't be penalized. And when I watched the other day, I said, I can't believe it. It should be the opposite. People should be going wild, and they love the product, but because he's finding all sorts of terrible things that have taken place against our country.
One thing I also want to talk about, like, super quickly is you might wonder, so it's very obvious that Trump is completely cucked. No one can watch this and believe that this is like an earnest of that. The super abrasive Trump who just a few years ago was shit-talking Elon, like the idea that this is an authentic interaction, nobody can believe this, and nobody does. Conservatives are okay with this because they never actually liked Trump, they just liked strongmen. The cult of personality around Trump has always been inauthentic because it's never been built around anything that Trump actually represented. Trump was supposed to bring back the glorious American past. He didn't. Trump was supposed to venerate like a Christian nationalism and white supremacy. He did to an extent, but then nothing really changed, right? Biden happened, you know? Society kind of runs along as it is. He's not like actually a real evangelical or an advocate for those things. He's just kind of incidentally those. They venerated him for fixing immigration. He didn't. The thing they actually like is just imagining that they are the person who has the strength to change society. And that's why so many of them like Elon. The switch in veneration from Trump to Elon, and you've seen that happening, right? You've seen that happening all over social media. Even the GOP is doing this. Has been a deliberate effort to transplant people's affection and admiration from Trump, who's old and dying, you know, completely compromised, over to a much younger, much wealthier individual. But it's just, I know, why does the hat sit so high in his head? I don't know how he f***s up wearing a trucker hat. I don't know, okay? Kind of like what they tried to do with DeSantis? Yeah, to an extent. They've been trying to move things away from Trump for a while now. I don't know how successfully they're going to do it with Elon. I do think that at the end of the day, conservatism is about worshiping power more than anything else. Like, why do you think Donald Trump never spares a negative word for Xi Jinping or Putin? Even if Trump criticizes China, he doesn't criticize Xi Jinping. He doesn't criticize Russia or Putin at all. Power just likes power, right? Conservatives like power. They just like it. Like, they just like the idea of being the boot. It's why conservatives like cops so much. They do the don't tread on me thing, but then they love cops. Doesn't make any sense. But they're the ones fantasizing about being the rapist, being the pedophile, being the tyrant who gets to kill their political opponents, you know? They love that shit. They love fantasizing about it. So now Elon gets to be that guy. And they get to imagine being so powerful that you can force the president of the United States to do a car commercial for you.
They want to penalize him in a economic sense, and I just think that's very unfair. So I just wanted to make a statement. I'm going to buy one. Now, here's the bad news. I'm not allowed to drive because I haven't driven a car in a long time, and I love to drive cars. But I'm going to have it at the White House, and I'm going to let my staff use it. I'm going to let people at the place use it. And they all are all excited about that. I'm not allowed to use it. Can you believe it? One of my great things in life is that I can, you know, I like to drive cars, but I'm not allowed.
It really is insane how little the kid cares about Elon, you know? Never looks up at his father, just wanders away. Like, genuinely no connection between these two. He's just a Kevlar vest to Elon.
And I will say, this one, the Cybertruck, I bought for a very special young woman. Do you know? I'm sure you've never heard of her, Kai. And she's a great golfer, and she puts the clubs in the back, and I guess it's a very safe deal. She loves it. And I actually bought one about a year ago, and she loves it. And it's very safe, it's very strong, heavy. It's all steel, stainless steel. But the cars themselves, so what is this one, Elon?
That's the Model Y.
That's a Model Y, so I have a lot of information.
And here, yeah, this is where he's got the ad read. Yeah, I don't know. It's just spiritually sickening. And conservatives hate this country. They despise it. There's nothing they hate more than this country, you know? It's like, you know how conservatives claim to hate when, like, foreigners come to our country and rape white women? But then you find out when you watch how they talk about women in general for like 4 seconds, they actually also hate women being raped. I think that's kind of the dynamic they got going on with the country as well, where they ostensibly want to venerate the country, but all of the veneration of the country is actually done in service of attacking other groups of people. In reality, they don't give a what's happening to the country, like, at all. Not even a little bit. Keep watching. You can't tell me what to do. You don't have power over me. Conservatives would be loyalists back in 1776. Unfortunately, liberals would too. You know, sadly.
Including the price.
Yeah.
I want to make a good deal here. You know, I do notice this. They have one, which is $35,000, which is pretty low. What is that all about?
Yeah, it's, I guess we want to make the point that Teslas aren't all expensive. You can get a Tesla for as little as $35,000.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank the president for his support.
Jesus Christ, man.
And also thank everyone out there who
Why is Elon's default hand pose this? Guy who has yet to take his first day of what to do with your hands while standing and looking at a camera school. He wants to be an evil genius? Yeah. He tries so hard. Not hard enough.
supporting Tesla. It's really terrible that there's so much violence being perpetrated against people at Tesla supporters.
Oh, hold on. That's a different segment. All right. Denigration of America. Hi, YouTube. Oh, hi, YouTube. Hi, YouTube. You're always on YouTube. That's my secret. I'm always making YouTube segments.